It was Christmas Eve, and the city glowed with lights and music. Store windows sparkled. Cars moved slowly through crowded streets, and people hurried home with bags full of gifts. Daniel walked alone along the sidewalk, his breath visible in the cold air. He had just finished a long overtime shift. Every step he took, he thought about his daughter, Emma, waiting for him at home. Daniel was a single father, and life had never been easy since his wife passed away years ago. Money was always tight. In his hand, he carried a small gift bag with a second-hand doll he had bought for Emma. It wasn't much, but it was all he could afford. He hoped it would still make her smile. As he took a shortcut through a narrow alley, something unusual caught his eye. Near a row of overflowing trash bins, a small figure was moving. At first, Daniel thought it was an animal, but when he looked closer, his heart dropped. It was a little girl, digging through the trash with bare hands. She looked no older than 7. Her jacket was torn, her shoes were too big, and her hair was messy and tangled. Her hands were shaking from the cold. Daniel froze for a moment, unsure what to do. Then he slowly stepped closer and spoke gently. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. The girl jumped back, startled. Her eyes were wide with fear. She tried to hide something behind her back, but Daniel saw it. A half-eaten piece of bread, dirty and torn. "I'm not doing anything," she said quickly, her voice barely louder than a whisper. Daniel's chest tightened. He took off his coat and held it out to her. "It's really cold tonight. You can take this." She hesitated, then slowly wrapped the coat around herself. It was far too big, but it gave her some warmth. Daniel knelt down so he wouldn't seem threatening. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily," she replied after a pause. Daniel asked where her parents were. Lily looked down at the ground and didn't answer. Her silence said more than words ever could. Daniel knew he couldn't just walk away, not on Christmas Eve, not after seeing a child this alone. He suggested they get something warm to eat. Lily clearly didn't trust him, but the mention of food made her stomach growl. Finally, she nodded. Daniel took her to a small diner nearby. When the soup arrived, Lily ate as if she hadn't had a proper meal in days. She kept looking around, as if afraid someone would take the food away. As Daniel watched her, his thoughts went straight to Emma. What if his daughter were ever in this situation? The idea made his eyes burn with tears. When Lily finished eating, Daniel gently asked about her story. Through broken sentences, Lily explained that her mother had died a few months ago. She didn't know where her father was. She moved between shelters, but that night, there was no space for her. So she had been searching for food in the trash. Daniel felt something inside him break. While the world celebrated, this little girl had nothing. No home, no family, no warmth. He knew he couldn't leave her alone again. He offered to take her home, just for the night. Lily hesitated, clearly used to disappointment. But when Daniel mentioned his daughter, her eyes softened just a little. When they reached Daniel's small apartment, Emma opened the door. She was a cheerful little girl with bright eyes. When she saw Lily standing there, she didn't ask questions. She simply smiled and held out her hand. That night, Emma shared her toys, her blanket, and even her bed. Lily smiled for the first time since Daniel had met her. Daniel watched from the doorway, overwhelmed with emotion. He had so little, yet somehow his home felt fuller than ever. After the girls fell asleep, Daniel sat alone on the couch. Fear crept into his mind. He didn't have extra money. His life was already a struggle. But deep down, he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't send Lily back to the streets. The next day, Daniel contacted social services. He did everything by the book. The process was long and difficult, filled with paperwork, interviews, and uncertainty. Some days, he felt exhausted and afraid, but every time he saw Lily laughing with Emma, he knew it was worth it. Weeks passed, and slowly, Lily became part of their family. She started going to school. She learned what it felt like to feel safe. Emma gained a sister, and Daniel gained a new purpose. On the next Christmas Eve, the apartment was still small, and money was still tight. But the house was filled with laughter, warmth, and love. Daniel looked at the two girls playing together and realized something important. The greatest gift he ever received wasn't wrapped in paper. It was found on a cold night beside a trash bin when he chose not to walk away.